Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the First Nations and Native American peoples. Here where I am in Vancouver, these peoples are the Musqueam, Stolo, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. But I know where many of you are, you're on the land of other nations. Always, but especially during this time, let us remember our connection to one another and pray for the day in which we might be together in right relationship. Welcome. Welcome to Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own home. Please bring who you are in with you into this community today. But what you are asked to remember is that all the faces on the screen around you have brought who they are into the community with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. Our opening announcements, most of the things we're going to say are happening on Zoom. And thanks to Eloisia, most of the links are on our website, so you can find them there. But if you're interested in anything and you can't find it, please send me an email or reach out to Eloisia or I for it, and we can give you follow-up information. Tomorrow, Sunday, June 14th, Omid Safi will be presenting on Rumi's Path of Love from 11 to 12:30, and all of the times are in Pacific Standard Time. I'm sorry, sometimes we have East Coast folks, so just keep that in mind. They're all Pacific Standard. So that's one thing you can sign up for tomorrow for Rumi. This coming Wednesday through Friday, June 17th through 19th, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going to be hosting an online conference. It's going to be every morning for just an hour each day from 9 to 10 a.m. The topic will be religion and religious freedom during the COVID-19 era, finding community and hope. And you do have to RSVP, but it's free. So you can sign up there and you can log in and sort of hear what people are sharing about how their communities are adapting and what we're learning during this time of the pandemic. Yes?
I think that is Mountain Time.
No, because it was 10 to 11 Mountain Time, so it's 9 to 10. But thank you. I love, she's so detail oriented. It's very helpful. So thank you. This coming Thursday, June 18th, from 3 to 4:30, the Vancouver Public Library is going to host a gathering of Indigenous storytellers. That's also going to be free, and you can either sign up on their website or on ours. Next Saturday, June 20th, from 11 to 12:30 or 12:15, there's going to be a shamanic ecotherapy event that's held by Banyan Books. And you can find information about it again on our site or on theirs. And then the following Friday, so this will be right before we meet again, since we meet every 2 weeks, I'm going to be teaming up with Sadiqa Jessa from Wider Lens and Steve Slocum from Salam USA. We're going to be working together to host a workshop called Exploring Emotions on Racial Inequality. And we're going to be sort of combining emotional intelligence with compassionate listening, and looking at that to try to help us uncover some of our own racial biases and also figure out what we can do to bring people together and work on anti-racism training going forward. I have to confess, I'm kind of intimidated about it because we have about 20 signups right now. And because of their connections in the Muslim world, many of them are in different countries in Africa and in the UK. So I'm trying to figure out how I can teach compassionate listening using examples that will work for people from like all these different countries, because it'll be the US, Canada, the UK, and then I think it's like Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, I think a few other places in Africa. But it should be really wonderful. And the idea is how can we bring this together and kind of work on that vulnerability in ourselves and opening up so we can break down these racial barriers that keep us separate from each other. So I think it'll be really good. And we do have lots more space if you're interested. So you can sign up on our site or on any of the other sites I mentioned. So that should be really good. And then finally, last time we met, we were talking about how it'd be great if we could set up a monthly meditation group and a monthly interfaith scripture study group. So I'm still figuring out the details for those, but it sounds like several people were interested. And it would probably be on either Tuesday or Wednesday nights on the off weeks, because right now we meet every other week. So that way we would have something happening every week. And that way part of our work is to not only bring together people from different religious traditions, but also people who experience the divine in different ways. So for people for whom it's really about experiential and like a mystical kind of experience, to have that meditation time together would be really, really helpful. Whereas for other folks who are more interested in the study and like learning more about the traditions, so that we have some means to do that as well. So I'm still setting that up. It'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday nights, but I should know more by next time. Excuse me. So that's all the announcements. That was a bunch, but thank you. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to share at this time? Yes, please.
In Victoria, we have a mindfulness meditation teacher that my husband goes to, and he would be open. It's on Sunday nights at 8, and he would be open to other people coming. And it simply is, I think it's only 25 to 35 minutes long, and he just gives you a meditation. So I will send the link to you, Kathy, if it seems like something people would like to go to.
Could you put it in the chat box? That would be great.
Okay, sure. Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Did I see another hand? Anything else folks would like to share?
Kathy, you might want to mention the meeting after this service.
I think you should.
We're having our first annual, what's called an annual general meeting today. And you're all invited to attend to find out a little bit more about who we are and what we're about. Kathy will give a report. Dora Lee, as the president, will give a report. There's a treasurer's report. The treasurer's report and the changes in bylaws that we're suggesting are actually on our website if you want to look at that during the break. But we invite you all to attend and perhaps consider joining the council.
That's great. Thank you. Normally, I'd say we have food. I'm sorry we don't have food. Food was one of our selling points. So I really appreciate you all sticking with us, even though we're not feeding you. So, okay, if that's it, let's just come into silence and we'll do our opening prayer. From today's Hukanama, the illusion of birth and death is gone. We lovingly focus on the Lord of the universe. In our lives, if we become absorbed in deep, silent meditation, the Guru's teachings may awaken us. The sound made from bronze, that sound goes back into the bronze again. But when the bronze is broken, where does the sound go then? We gaze upon the world, the confluence of the three qualities. God is awake and aware in each and every heart. Such is the understanding revealed to us. For if we come to know our own self, our light will merge into the light. Says Kabir, now I know the Lord of the universe, and my mind is satisfied. O Lord of the soul, Gobind, ocean of mercy, Guru of the world, destroyer of the world's grievances, full of compassion, dispel every sorrow. O you who can afford shelter, merciful Lord of the poor, have mercy on us. Now is when we offer a sign of peace. Since we can't greet in person, let me attempt to unmute everyone. And let's just go around and say something like peace be with you as well. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Peace, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Peace be with you, everyone.
Peace be with you.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Peace be with you, my friends.
Peace to
Be
all
with
of you.
you.
Push both. She got embarrassed and is hiding. Now she's hiding almost under the couch.
Thank you so much. I think Bruce and Cheryl, here I'm going to mute everyone and then unmute you.
This is one of our favorite texts from the Guru Granth Sahib by Guru Arjan, Devi, Jadji himself. And just sing along as you are able. Tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu mera bandapa, tu mera prata, tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu hai mera mata, tu hai mera mata. Tu mera rakha sabani tai, tanyo kea karajio, tanyo kea karajio. Oh, tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu mera bandapa, tu mera brata, tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata, tu hai mera mata, tu hai mera mata.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now I'll share my own screen and join me now in the joint affirmation. We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many, our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek, and let it begin here. A reading from Guru Arjan. Join and unite together, my brethren. Lay aside differences. Love one another. Associate yourselves with God's name, O holy ones. Spread your mat and sit on it. In this way, my friends, throw your dice. O holy ones, repeat God's name day and night, and at the last hour you shall not suffer. Now is when we all come into silence and we pray in whatever way we do in our own traditions or in our own paths for something in the world. There are so many things we could be praying about in the world right now. I know last time when we met, we were praying for the protesters and the people who have been the victims of racism and police brutality. We could, of course, keep praying for them this week, and I invite you to do that, or to pray for justice, or for peace, or for healing, or for anything else that comes to you this morning that we're most in need of today. Let's just take a few minutes and all pray in our own ways. Thank you all so much. I usually close that with our singing bowl that I forgot to bring today, so I'm sorry about that. But when you're ready, Bruce and Sharon.
Another beautiful chant from Guru Arjan Dev Ji. With every breath, meditate on God and all anxiety shall cease. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sing that again a few times. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Mane antara ki utre chinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Mani antara ki utre chinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Mani antara ki utre chinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Sas sas simro govinda. Simro govinda. Simro govinda. Simro govinda.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to stop our recording so we can share freely any joys or concerns or sorrows we might have on our hearts today. When normally we would pass around a basket to ask for donations. Several of you have been donating, and I'm very, very grateful. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at sending follow-up emails. So, but I do want to let you know that I did get some donations for us, and we are very, very grateful. So thank you so much for that. And I'll try to get better about sending that out. But here I can put a link to our donation page in this. And then also, if anyone has other causes that are really dear to them right now that they would like to donate to, please share about those, and also feel free to put those in the box as well, because I want this to be a place where we're all helping each other out. That's the idea here. Okay, thank you. Bruce and Cheryl?
Yes. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Beautiful, thank you. And now I'm very happy to turn it over to my good friend Sukhvinder Kaur Vinning. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we're just very excited to hear from you.
Well, thank you for inviting me again. It's good to be with everyone again. Before we start, we are going to do a, I want to say a grounding exercise. And we're going to do a Simran. So Simran is a meditative chant that can be used to ground ourselves, become present within ourselves, or help us shift and expand beyond our current sense of self, or all of the above, right? We get to choose what Simran is going to be for us. We're going to be chanting the word Vaheguru, which means how amazing is that which shifts us from darkness to light. So chanting Vaheguru is a powerful practice that many Sikhs use to help us navigate dark and challenging times while being expansively resilient. So what I'd like to do is have you practice together how to pronounce it. And if you can repeat after me, Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. And so as you chant Vaheguru, I invite you to be open to shifting from wherever you are to a more expanded and open sense of self, and to be more connected to everyone around you and to feel grounded.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru,
Thank you for that. Today, we are remembering the Shahidi of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, our 5th Guru. Shahidi means to give up your life while holding the line against tyranny and injustice. We will be examining how his life, his teachings, and his death can help us navigate the current racism conversations and issues that are happening in present time. To begin with, I'm going to give a little bit of historical context. He was born on the Indian subcontinent in 1563 and was executed in 1606. He was born a year before Galileo, and Michelangelo died a year after Guru Arjan Dev Ji was born. In his lifetime, the Spanish Inquisition and witch burnings in Europe were happening, and European colonization using the doctrine of discovery was happening in Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent. To put this into Canadian settler context, 2 years after his death, the explorer Samuel de Champlain began settlement in 1608 in what would become present-day Quebec City. And it would be another 62 years before the British, through the Hudson's Bay Company, would begin to build permanent settlements on present-day Canadian soil. I'm working on learning Indigenous history so that I can put Sikh history into an Indigenous context. While I don't have specifics, what I can say is that during Guru Arjan Dev Ji's lifetime, there were many nations on this land we call Canada. Some were at peace with each other, some were at war with each other, and some were neutral with each other. There was a diversity of Indigenous cultures and languages and ways of life on this land, and many nations were thriving. Racism, discrimination, and bigotry were alive and well during Guru Arjan Dev Ji's lifetime, and he chose to address this by first working on himself. By doing his inner work, he set the example for us Sikhs that we must work on ourselves while we deal with racism, discrimination, and bigotry. I'm going to share a couple of teachings that I'm currently using to navigate our current times. The first one is on page 1299 of the Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib, which is our teachings. We see it as our living and embodied text, our ruling sovereign today, and we strive to become like the teachings it contains. The teachings are often written in the first and second person. They are the conversations the writer is having with source and contain their own personal reflections. So this is a teaching found on page 1299. Since I found the company of those that help me connect to you and connect me with my authentic truth, I am free of my jealousy and envy of others. No one is my enemy, and no one is a stranger to me. I am a friend to all. I choose to accept that whatever comes from you will ultimately benefit us. This is the wisdom I have obtained from you. I, Nanak, acknowledge, since I found the company of those that help me connect to you and connect me with my authentic truth, I see that you exist in all beings, and seeing you in them brings me such joy. The way I've been applying this Shabad, this teaching, to racism conversations I'm being a part of is by starting with the last line. Source exists in all beings, so I am not able to justify or practice addressing bigotry by being bigoted, or addressing hatred by being hateful, or addressing discrimination by being discriminatory, or addressing exclusion by being exclusive. I can't do anything along those lines. These are my boundaries. The next line, I choose to accept that whatever comes from you will ultimately benefit us all, helps me find purpose during difficult times, keeps me in an expansive, resilient mindset, in Jaddi Gala. It prevents me from catastrophically spiraling downwards. It also reminds me that it is during challenging times that I will grow. It helps me to lean into the discomfort and pain and commit to being part of a positive outcome. The line, no one is my enemy and no one is a stranger to me, I am a friend to all, This is a core teaching that I grew up hearing and being encouraged to practice. Over the years, I've used this teaching to learn to look beyond skin color, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, culture, beliefs, faith or spiritual path, etc. In other words, to look beyond all the labels we use to define ourselves and others. I am the kind of friend that is not seeing skin color to decide how I'm going to navigate the current issues and conversations. I am the kind of friend that is refusing to enable my friends of all skin colors in being bigoted, discriminatory, hateful, victim mindset oriented, resentful, justifying vengeful behavior, or justifying not showing up and not owning their voice. I am the kind of friend that is committed to building bridges of understanding, relationships of trust, and I refuse to build barriers or practice exclusivity or declare that a certain segment of society does not belong and is not allowed to speak. And the final line holds me accountable to make sure that I am surrounding myself with people who will help me stay connected to everyone and everything around me and to stay grounded in my authentic self. So I find this Shabad powerful, right? It's really it's just showing me that light that guides me through the darkness that I'm seeing right now. The second teaching balances the first teaching, and the second one is found on page 102. Everything I need is within the home of my soul. There is nothing outside of my soul. When I search outside of my soul, I am deluded by doubt. By your grace, we who have found you within us, we are happy both inside and outside. Slowly, gently, drop by drop, the stream of divine nectar trickles down inside me. My soul drinks it up while hearing and reflecting on your divine word. My soul enjoys bliss and ecstasy day and night and plays with you forever and ever. Having been cut off from you for many lifetimes, I have now been united with you. With your blessings, the piece of me which was withered and dried up is green and growing again. I have obtained this sublime understanding, and I meditate on your true essence. As a spiritual being, I have connected with you. As the waves of water merge again with the water, so does my light merge again into your light. I, Nanak, say, the veil of illusion has been cut away, and I shall not go out wandering anymore. Slowly, gently, drop by drop, the stream of divine nectar trickles down inside me. My soul drinks it up while hearing and reflecting on your divine word. My soul enjoys bliss and ecstasy day and night and plays with you forever and ever. This Shabad really brings home for me the importance of working to stay connected with Source within myself during times of darkness, challenge, and suffering. And this connection needs to be green and growing, joyful, playful, and ecstatic. The Shabad also reminds me that Source is within me and that I need to listen to my internal voice and not become confused by the noise around me. I must immerse myself in the light in order to navigate the dark. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji also practiced inclusivity to deal with racism, discrimination, and bigotry. When he built the Harmandir Sahib, which is also known as the Golden Temple, his good friend, who happened to be Muslim, laid down the first 5 bricks, the cornerstones, one in each corner and one in the middle. And then the foundation was built from there. All 4 walls each had a door so that anyone from any direction and walk of life could enter. Harmandir Sahib exists today, and it is a lasting symbol of inclusivity, a lasting symbol of inclusivity for Sikhs. People from all over the world visit there. Over 90,000 people are fed there daily every weekday, and over 180,000 people are fed each day during the weekend. He practiced inclusivity also when he compiled the Adi Granth, the initial form of our Siddhi Guru Granth Sahib, our present day teachings. He included teachings by teachers from many cultures. There's many languages that are included in the Guru Granth Sahib, and many walks of life. He taught us that it's not just Sikh gurus that had the light, that this light, it exists in all traditions. And he made it impossible for any Sikh to really argue that about Sikh supremacy or that only Sikhs count. I'm not saying that there are not Sikhs who practice that, not at all. But what I can tell you is that there are enough Sikhs in every generation that embrace his inclusivity. And they show up believing and seeing source in everybody and everything around us. So in his lifetime, there was an emperor that came into power. And this emperor, in his autobiography, noted that too many people seemed to be fascinated with Guru Arjan Dev Ji. He felt that he should either put an end to this Guru Arjan or bring him into the fold of the emperor's own faith. He later writes in his autobiography that he decided that Guru Arjan Dev Ji should be put to death by torture, which is exactly what happened in 1606. So when I reflect on Guru Arjan Dev Ji's death, and I reflect on this emperor and his mindset, and then I reflect on what am I seeing here in 2020 with our current conversation around racism and justice. And I see a lot of parallels. I see many people similar to the emperor who have this mindset that if someone else is growing and shining, it means there's going to be less for me. If there is, people are joyous and they're flourishing, there's a danger to that because I will have less or I will be less. This led this emperor to justify murder and torture. And while I gotta say, history's full of this kind of behavior. And let us really be honest. This has happened all over the world. Therefore, people of all skin colors have participated in this kind of thinking and justification. And that's a danger that we have here in Canada. I look at Guru Arjan Dev Ji and how he chose to, no matter what, he was not going to give up what he believed in, but more importantly, he wasn't going to give up his light. He wasn't going to willingly extinguish who he was. And so I sit with his energy. I sit with just all the, teachings we've spoken of today and shared today, looking at the frequency of what he taught. And that frequency really is that, when it gets darker, that's the time that we need to shine the brightest, but not an egotistical shining, right? Let me be big and so that I can overwhelm someone else or subjugate someone else. Not that kind. But the kind of light that just says, it just shines and the darkness dissipates. So it means it helps us think more clearly. It means we see the human being across from us and not the other or it or whatever label we've given to justify that this person's thoughts and feelings don't count. So it's helping me stand and hold the line, because that's what Guru Arjan Dev Ji for me really symbolizes, is the darkness came. And what he said was, I'm holding the line. And I'm not going to hold the line in anger or hatred or fight you, with that anger and hate. Instead, I'm holding the line with my authenticity. I will not become small I will not mutilate or mutate or choke my roots. I will be my authentic self. And that means I must be part of the light. I have to be a friend to all. I need to see source in every single person, including the people I disagree with. I don't have to agree. See, this is, I think, some of the struggles we have, that we think that in order to be in the light, we must be in agreement. No, actually, the challenge is seeing the human being and the person we vehemently disagree with. How do we stay humane? That's the challenge. Because I don't know about you, but I gotta tell you, anger for me can sweep me away. Oh, and boy, can I say hurtful things in that state of anger. And yet when I'm in my state of reason, I sit there and go, how could I possibly have said that? And it is because I have disconnected from reason, but more importantly, I have disconnected from source at that time. And I'm unable to see source in the person I'm angry with. So that's the work. How can I still experience my anger, because it's going to come up, or my frustration, or my fear, or my sense of feeling stuck and why is this happening? All those things. How do I be in that and yet always, always keep that connection to source, so that I can be humane as I'm dealing with my neighbors or I'm speaking to people, and being humane with myself as well. That I'm not sitting here putting myself down or beating myself up. So this Shahidi is relevant. I also feel that what I love about his teachings, as well as the stand that he took, that it was, again, part of discrimination is this not being prejudiced and prejudging. So I want to say to you, he inspires me and reminds me of all the examples of the previous Sikhs before me. And I'm not saying all Sikhs did this. I so want to be clear of that. But I want to say that enough Sikhs in every decade, in every generation, right, century by century, enough Sikhs have done this particular thing. They refuse to prejudge someone based on whatever's happened somewhere else. So to be specific, I'll give the specific example. I live in the Lower Mainland. So when I'm hearing someone talk to me about what's happening in the United States and giving me statistics about what's happening in the United States about the issue, I will pause that and say, but we're talking about the Lower Mainland. We're talking, or specifically whatever the city is in the Lower Mainland. We're talking about here. What's the stats here? What's the reality here? I recognize and acknowledge whatever is happening in the US, or whatever's happening in Ontario, or whatever's happening in Manitoba, or any of the other provinces and territories in Canada. I recognize that is happening. I won't, though, enable you to justify treating people on the ground here in the Lower Mainland on this land based on the actions of other people. That would be prejudice. I'm taking what's happening there and now prejudging people here. My job is to be in presence, to be with people here to get a sense of what's going on. And let's address our own backyard. And if we all do that, would things not shift? If we could focus on our own backyards, would things not shift? And if we're not creating more prejudice by prejudging people, would things not shift? Those are my questions. That's the current wrestling and where I'm at. And so I want to say end there that my mandate, I feel, so again, this is me as a Sikh, and I'm sharing with you my understanding, I cannot say to you that all Sikhs practice this, but I will say I'm enjoying the company of those Sikhs, and frankly, those Canadian siblings and neighbors that do practice this, that we're holding the line against prejudging each other. We're being in the present moment with one another, and we're willing to address what's happening now. And so for that, I'm very grateful for Guru Arjan Dev Ji's life, his teachings, and the sacrifice. And maybe it's not sacrifice, his willingness to hold the line against the dark. Thank you. And so now what we are going to do is we are going to do the Simran of Vaheguru again. It'll be for around 5 minutes. And so I open to you, or I invite you, as we do our Vaheguru Simran together, that you open yourself to source within you, and you open yourself to the amazing, beautiful light within yourself, and that you commit to showing up in the arena regardless of your skin color. Because your voice, if it's missing, then the tapestry is not complete. So how can your voice show up in the arena so that we can be in relationship with you? So if you can open yourself to be, to practice Vah, wow, He is Guru, shifting from darkness to light. So if we can be open to that as we meditate together. And so Bruce will be putting on the track, and we're good to go.
Here we are.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru,
So I end with Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, which is the Sikh greeting where we remind ourselves that the Khalsa, those that practice authentic self, that work on their own personal freedom, that we come from that amazing deliverer, or from darkness to light, and that Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, that all that we do comes from that same source. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sukhvinder, and to Bruce and Cheryl. I want to say briefly, I struggled with a little bit of what you said, and I know that wouldn't be a surprise to you because you and I have spoken about this before. And it is an interesting thing, right? That's what I think that's a good thing about our community, is our idea is to bring people together, not just from different places, not just from different religious traditions, but also from different perspectives, and to hold that, you know. And Sukhvinder and I, just about a week and a half ago, were on a panel together at a pluralism conference, and I was speaking about how do you stay present in the presence of the other. And for me, as a Buddhist, that's a big part of my spiritual practice, is how do I sit and stay fully present and listen, even when I don't always agree with everything being said. And it's interesting. Last week, I went to the Black Lives Matter protest in Vancouver, and many of the speakers, I agreed with what they were saying, and I felt fully in. But there were some speakers who I was having that same sense of like, ooh, I don't know, this isn't quite how I'm feeling. But trying to be with that, and still trying to show up, and yeah, still trying to do good, still trying to help people, still staying together and having this respect and this fondness and this friendship. And I think that's a big part of what we do here. So I'm very grateful for this community. I'm very grateful for everyone who sticks with it. I sometimes, after services, I'll get somewhat disgruntled messages from folks saying like, you know, I didn't agree with what that speaker said. And I was like, I know, I don't always either. I purposely make it, you know, I want it to be open, and everyone who's spoken can say I very purposely never give direction as to what people should say, because I want us all to come together and to be able to share fully. So I'm very grateful to you, Sukhvinder, for being here with us today and for sharing. And it may just be me who feels that discomfort, but if you don't feel it now, you'll feel it another time. And just so you know, that's okay too. But the important thing is we keep showing up and we keep learning how to love each other. So thank you so much for everything today. Thanks for being with us.